As Africa's leading defense news portal, defenceWeb aims to give you the latest updates on African defense, the South African National Defense Force, and the defense industry. In this week's edition on the continent, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency helicopters are delivered. Questions arise over South Africa's arms supplies to Mozambique as violence spikes in Cabo Delgado. South Africa was warned on Mozambique insurrection last year. The National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security has been released, and a policing report says automatic weapons should not be used on protesters. In SANDF news, the Makhanda infantry base is not secure after its fence was stolen. The Department of Defense emerges as a top 10 contributor to the Auditor General's irregular expenditure list. Private sector security are guarding the building housing defense headquarters, and defense committees are not finished with one military hospital. In industry news, Armscor further explains efforts to leverage intellectual property, and Hensoldt South Africa and the CSIR partner on radar development. In African defense news, NIMASA helicopters delivered. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, has taken delivery of its two AW109 helicopters from Italy's Leonardo Helicopters. They will be used as part of the Deep Blue Maritime Security Project. They were unloaded at a Nigerian port at the end of March. NIMASA said the helicopters will be alongside the special mission aircraft and UAVs. Questions arise over SA's arms supplies to Mozambique. South Africa's supply of weapons and training to Mozambique is under scrutiny as violence increases in Cabo Delgado, and the United Nations reports targeted attacks against civilians in Palma. The insurgency in Mozambique began in 2017 and since then has killed thousands and displaced more than 500,000. The Mozambican authorities have turned to South African private companies to assist with security, while the United States and Portugal have agreed to provide limited training. Since April 2020, Dyke Advisory Group DAG has been assisting the Mozambican police and using light helicopters helped rescue many people from the besieged Palma. However, Amnesty International accused it of indiscriminate attacks against civilians, and its contract with Mozambique expired on the 6th of April. Paramount Group is supplying a number of Marauder armored personnel carriers to Mozambique, as well as refurbished MI-17 and MI-24 helicopters and pilot training. With regards to the weapons from South Africa being authorized by the South African government, and Pretoria looking the other way with regards to private military contractors. According to Khadija Sarife, senior editor for Africa at the non-profit Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, unless a country is flagged by way of sanctions or other issues, arms trading is a largely private affair. Sarife said that South Africa approved over R500 million in weapon exports to Mozambique during 2020. The conflict in Cabo Delgado justifies the exports, as it does in many other countries where a sovereign government can claim they are under duress from non-government armed forces. That, in her view, is an old trick. SA warned on Mozambique insurrection last year, more than 7 months after the Institute for Security Studies called for continental assistance to be given to the troubled Mozambique. The call has been echoed by an opposition parliamentarian with, to date, the SA government response an expression of concern and an increase in diplomatic personnel in Maputo. Last August, the Pretoria headquartered think tank urged the Southern African Development Community, SADC, and the African Union to assist Mozambique in stemming the violence insurgency in Cabo Delgado province and bring relief to thousands of people in dire need. In support of this call, the ISS pointed out various SADC instruments oblige the regional body to come to Mozambique's aid. For instance, Article 6, Section 1 of the SADC Mutual Defense Pact stipulates an armed attack against a private party shall be considered a threat to regional peace and security, and as such, an attack shall be met with immediate collective action. Additionally, SADC's 2015 Regional Counter-Terrorism Strategy, developed in line with the UN Global Counter-Terrorism Strategy, provides for assistance in preventing youth radicalization, border security, humanitarian aid, and tackling the root causes of terrorism, the ISS statement added. National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security, a 96-page document released in April, is a South African government-led roadmap for action as regards to women, peace and security. It aims, according to Naledi Pandur's Department of International Relations and Cooperation, DIRCO, to provide a guiding framework toward creating a safer and peaceful South Africa and world for women, girls and gender non-conforming persons, enable representation and meaningful participation for women in peace processes, and prioritize their needs, experiences, and agency in all conflict and non-conflict contexts. In her preface to the document, Defense and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Ngakula points out the security sector reforms and integration which accompanied South African democracy in 1994 created a favorable environment for women to swell the ranks of the SA National Defense Force. Women moved to central positions, participating in military operations and in leadership roles. As an example, Lieutenant Colonel Tse Setso Segobela is a 7th SA Infantry Battalion commander who deployed in North Kivu in the DR Congo as part of the Force Intervention Brigade in 2018. Women are thus recognized as full members of the SANDF. Many women in the SANDF are eager to learn and grow in operational experience and enthusiastic about opportunities to serve the peace support operations and border safeguarding. She goes on to state the majority of female soldiers are currently in support corps of the force services. This will change with the DoD's gender mainstreaming strategy calling for a 40% target of females at entry level. Automatic weapons should not be used on protesters, says policing report. The Institute for Security Studies welcomes an expert report on policing, noting the constitutional right to peaceful protest and says automatic weapons should never be used for crowd management. The report of the panel of experts on policing and crowd management was released by Police Minister Becky Cele. The panel was set up in April 2016 under Judge David Nshangase in line with recommendations of the Makhanda Commission of Inquiry. The commission was established after police killed 34 striking miners at Makhanda in August 2012. The aim of the panel was to provide recommendations to help the SA Police Service become more professional, promote public safety, and uphold the rights of all people in South Africa. A key focus of the panel is public order policing and crowd management. Its report said current guidance to police regarding the use of force was inadequate and protection of life should be a guiding principle. The report is released at an important time following a long decline in policing and public safety, said Gareth Newham, head of Institute for Security Studies, Justice and Violence Prevention Program, who served on the panel. The panel called for a professional, demilitarized and accountable police service led by experienced, competent, honest and credible leadership, and for a system of crowd management respecting the constitutional right to freedom of assembly. And in SANDF news, Makhanda infantry base not secure. Indications the military is not immune to South Africa's criminal elements and their illegal activities comes from Makhanda, previously Grahamstown, in Eastern Cape, where the SA Army's 6th SA Infantry Battalion is headquartered. A reply to a parliamentary question by Defence and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nkakula brought to light there is currently no fence on the eastern boundary of the Airborne Infantry's unit training area. She told Democratic Alliance parliamentarian Annette Steyn, asking on behalf of the party's shadow agriculture, land reform and rural development portfolio, the fence was absent as it had been stolen. A project was registered and sent out for tender via the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, but the process was placed on hold due to insufficient funding. The ministerial response read. Steyn also sought details of disputes and/or complaints by farmers in the vicinity of the base regarding illegal hunting and stock theft. Mapisa-Nkakula's response indicated the SA Army is aware of complaints by farmers adjacent to the 6th SAI infantry training area, centered on stock theft and illegal poaching, exacerbated by the absent perimeter fence, and has reported this to the SANDF. The Defence Works Formation is coordinating restoration of the absent perimeter fence with the Provincial Department of Public Works and Infrastructure on behalf of the Department of Defence. Residents of a recently established informal settlement in Kanini in the area reportedly make use of easy access to the unfenced training area, poaching wildlife including springbok, blesbok and kudu. According to News 24, people living in Kanini and Makhanda are responsible for the removal of the perimeter fence. DoD, a top 10 contributor to AG irregular expenditure list. Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nkakula's Department of Defence and its operating arm, the SA National Defence Force, regularly bemoan a lack of funding, hampering ability and capability and capacity to execute official taskings. A late March release of national and provincial government audits as per the Public Finance Management Act, PFMA, by Auditor General Sakani Maluleke shows the defence sector of the public service is not entirely above blame for the way it spends at least some of the close to 50 billion rand allocated by National Treasury. Among others, her report notes 0.19 billion rand in irregular expenditure incurred on ongoing multi-year contracts. The main reason for the non-compliance found by Auditor General personnel is related to non-compliance with legislation restricting overspending on the budget for employee compensation. Compensation of employees is the major consumer of funds received from Finance Minister Tito Mbowen's National Treasury, accounting for 61.4%, 88.4 billion, of its total expenditure of 140.2 billion over the medium-term expenditure framework period. Other issues involving the defence budget Maluleke reported on include material irregularities totaling over 356 million rand, private sector security guarding building housing, private sector security guarding building housing defence headquarters. While the Department of Defence does not employ private security services for its headquarters in the Armscor building, the state's own Defence and Security Acquisition Agency does. Armscor employs private sector security company TAG Security Services services to provide guarding services at the Emirates Rand building, adjacent to the N1 highway on the eastern side of Pretoria. TAIX is also responsible for guarding services at 2 other Armscor facilities in Gauteng, Protecnic in Centurion and Gerotech west of Pretoria. The Umtata headquartered company is, according to Defence and Military Veterans Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Ngakula's response to a parliamentary question, currently in the first year of a 3-year contract worth 24 million rand awarded it by Armscor. The DoD is housed in Armscor and all security needs of the department are taken care of by Armscor, Mapisa-Ngakula informed Democratic Alliance parliamentarian Thomas Walters. 2 other Armscor facilities use private sector security. They are the Institute of Maritime Technology in Simonstown, where TDP Enterprises and Projects is in the 5th month of a 3 million rand 3-year contract, and the Alkanpan Test Range in the Northern Cape. Here, Monument Park, Pretoria-based Famogale Security is also tied into a 3-year contract for guarding services. Its time on the remote test firing range will earn it just over 11 million rand for the duration of the 36-month contract. Defence committees not finished with 1 military hospital. The SA Military Health Service flagship, the 1 military hospital in Tabashwane, is in a sorry state notwithstanding a stop-start repair and maintenance program, now over 10 years in process. It was again flagged, this time in a Parliament announcement, tablings and committee document dated 25th of March. The report follows an oversight visit to a number of SA National Defence Force bases, facilities and installations by both Parliament's Defence Oversight Committees. The November visit was an agenda item at subsequent meetings of the Portfolio Committee on Defence and Military Veterans and the Joint Standing Committee on Defence. ANC KwaZulu-Natal parliamentarian Cyril Tlaba, who chairs both committees, told the Newsroom Africa TV channel the sorry state of 1 military hospital was concerning. He is expecting further reports from the SA Military Health Service, the Logistics Division of the SANDF, and Minister Patricia de Lille's Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. These, he said during a live interview, will assist in getting to the bottom of the problems and hopefully identify any wrongdoing. One concern raised by committee members was the underspend by the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure on servicing the Department of Defence. 41% of funds allocated for repair and maintenance by the Public Works Department or its appointed contractors have been utilised over the past 5 years. The committees heard, despite attempts by the DoD to manage the services rendered by the Public Works Department, but continues without any apparent consequence management or punitive measures, the parliamentary document states. And in industry news, Armscor further explains efforts to leverage IP. Armscor, as the custodian of the Department of Defence's intellectual property, is looking at ways of leveraging this in order to generate revenue. In a presentation in March to the Joint Standing Committee on Defence, Armscor said it is responsible for the management of the Department of Defence's IP and must ensure the DoD IP is identified, protected and exploited to the benefit of the DoD and the country at large. In order to achieve this, Armscor developed an IP strategy that speaks to how Armscor aims to use IP to drive technology development, how IP is leveraged to promote transformation in the South African defence industry, the importance of proper IP control and protection, and IP exploitation governance. Armscor said it undertakes research and development initiatives in order to maintain defence technologies and foster innovation within the industry. In this regard, Armscor aims to collaborate with both local and international stakeholders to promote technology transfer between parties and cooperative research and development efforts. Armscor also aims to transfer technology to exempted micro-enterprises and qualifying small enterprises to enable them to source funding to research and develop new technologies and or maintain existing technologies. The IP strategy speaks to Armscor leveraging IP to promote transformation within the South African defence industry and thereby supporting the objectives of the Defence Sector Code, it said. Armscor will transfer the IP to small qualifying enterprises and emerging micro-enterprises in order for them to participate meaningfully in defence acquisition, research and development. They will be able to bid for Armscor orders and use the transferred IP to execute these orders. Hensoldt South Africa and CSIR partner on radar development. Hensoldt South Africa and the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, have signed co-development and license agreements for the development of new generation radar technology. A generation of tactical 3D surveillance radar systems are being developed for naval and land deployment, which will modernize one of Hensoldt's key radar product lines and further enhance its extensive radar portfolio, the company announced on the 29th of March. To this end, Hensoldt South Africa has entered into a research and development agreement with the CSIR, which has built up significant radar expertise and heritage over the past 75 years. The newly developed technology will be used in cutting-edge radar products that are software configurable with accuracy far surpassing current technology and boasting increased resistance against countermeasures at a very competitive price. The first products are expected to be ready for delivery by the end of 2023. The CSIR is co-developing core components of the technology with Hensoldt South Africa, while Hensoldt South Africa is also responsible for the project management, product development, industrialization, and system engineering of the products. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our daily and weekly newsletter, and our other social media platforms if you enjoyed the webcast. Leave your comments below. Thank you for listening, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.